Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the World Championship Series Challenger Season number 1, day number 3. We're moving into Group C today. My name is Fear Dragon. I am joined by such a wonderful man on my left.
Oh, my.
It is Nathanius.
Oh,
What's
my.
up?
Not much. It's good to see you again, Fear Dragon. We missed you at last week's show. We
I know.
figured that In Control was probably going into some shadow ops to keep you out, but we got Fear Dragon back, and that makes my weekend so much better than normal.
Yeah. I was taking some math classes last weekend, trying to figure out how to crunch the numbers better since I knew that Jeff wasn't going to be here this week.
And just so you know, at the conclusion of the finals for WCS Spring, we'll actually have a cage match to the death between Fear Dragon and In Control. You can hit me up on Twitch for how to get tickets to that.
Yeah, who would you bet on for that?
I can't, insider information, I can't trade those types of secrets. Too many people watching.
All right. Well, if you're not familiar with Challenger, we do have a pretty cool format that has remained the same this year and last year. It is 16 players that qualify for Challenger through both the ladder, through online qualifiers, through seeds from WCS points. And, of course, those 16 players get put into groups of 4, where 2 players advance out of each one of these 4-player groups. And that's the exact same format that we're going to be seeing today. We're going to be playing out one of those groups, group number C, or group letter C. I've been taking too many math classes.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Number J is an acceptable StarCraft term, so you can go number C if you want.
You know, I actually created a Wikipedia page for memes on StarCraft, and I completely forgot to create a Wikipedia page, or like a little article section for the number J.
Yeah, well, it's
Thank
in the ancient history archives now.
That is a pretty old. It's an old meme, but it checks out, sir.
Yes, some say those VODs are written in hieroglyphic stone carvings now. So,
of course, these players are going to be playing for $10,000 per region. So that's $10,000 for Europe, $10,000 for North America. And you can see it's $1,600 for first place, $400 for any players that get knocked out here today, and all the WCS points in between. What would you do with $1,600, Nate?
I could get a lot of yogurt. Yeah, I get a lot of yogurt. Yeah, almond cocoa loco and peanut
Terry
butter
loves
cup.
yogurt.
I do love my yogurt. What can I say?
That's a pretty solid answer. But, of course, you guys can also speculate at that and tweet at us. Let us know. What would you do with $1,600 from Challenger? Make sure you tweet at Router.
108. Oh, we're ready to get started this weekend.
Sorry, guys. Of course, we take a look at the groups. If you missed out on last week's broadcast, you did miss out on StarCraft and a Laser advancing out from Group A, and Rainer and Showtime advancing out from Group B. Would you say there are any surprises there from last week?
The first win for Marine Lord over Rainer was pretty big. It made me think that Marine Lord was going to get out of the group, maybe in first place, but Showtime dunked on him, and then Marine Lord was not going to win the rematch against Rainer. So it made that group interesting. Game's definitely worth checking out. Maybe put on 2 times view speed for the PVZs on year 0.
Oh, why? Were they a little bit long?
Just a little while to get through, just a little bit.
I think my favorite part of that entire broadcast was just you and Jeff being so surprised that one of the series didn't go to year 0.
Yeah, well, it was weird because that was like all the PVZs on the first day, and then we get to day 2, and there was on Sunday there were no games on year 0.
Yeah, because everyone realized what happened day 1.
Yeah. That's like interesting stuff as people go through like the numbers and whatnot. I think there was a statistic about like Terran versus Protoss. Like, people talk about, because, people like to complain about this particular matchup a lot, but they're like, the win rate specifically on Automaton is, like, disgustingly low, and the win rate for Terran vs. Protoss on year 0 is, like, significantly higher than the other maps, and I'm curious to see if we start seeing some vetoes get shifted around. I don't know.
Well,
since this is going to be the weekend of Terrans, if you guys have been missing your Terrans in WCS and the WCS Challenger, I know we don't have too many that compete a ton in the non-Korean scene, at least at a high level. But we've got 2 Terrans in our European group today. We got 2 Terrans in our American group today.
2 Terrans in the European group tomorrow as well.
Yep.
Yeah. But we take a look at the players playing today, as already shown before. We saw that it is going to be Lambo, souL, Thermal, and DNS playing today. But these are the actual matches. Lambo versus souL for our first match, as we're going to be jumping into next. And then following that up, it's going to be Thermal versus DNS. If you're not familiar with the group stage format, after that, the losers of each one of those matches play. The winners of each one of those matches play.
Just to clarify, the decider match is not the third match. That's going to be the elimination match, and then the final match will be the decider.
Yes. Well, I mean, it does decide who's going to get eliminated.
I was gonna say, we can't skip syntax. It's not possible. Unless we've got a time machine, but I'm not ready to go into that. Not right now.
No. We're a little too early in the morning. For
our first match coming up, it's gonna be Terran versus Zerg. We got souL going up against Lambo. It's gonna start on Automaton. Should be a good one. Terran versus Zerg has always been a great matchup to watch, and I think particularly in the last few months, we've still been seeing lots of experimentation with different styles, and most notably with Cyclone, Hellion,
Battle Mech,
Liberator, Battle Cruisers still coming in and out. Everybody was hot on the battle cruisers when they got the buff at the end of last year. Then they got the first nerf. It kind of cooled down a little bit, but in the last month,
they're like, wait, I can still use this.
People are realizing that just because Yamato takes forever to research does not mean that they are a terrible endgame choice. And we have seen a lot of battle cruisers in endgame Terran situations over the last couple of weeks between GSL, Super Tournament, and hopefully soon in WCS.
Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying that. I know you have.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys, we're going to be hopping into game number 1 here on, go figure, Automaton, Nate.
Yeah.
Well,
the numbers aren't as fudged on this map for TVs.
Yeah. So. Well, we are going to be starting down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Top of the red Terran player. Put your hands together for souL. Little team makers.
Yes.
You know they make iron chains there?
Do they, though?
No.
No, they don't. On the right side of the map, as the blue Zerg player, he is Lambo. You know what I did find surprising? Because I build air units way more than most other players.
What?
Automaton is actually, I think it's the longest ground rush distance of the map pool.
It's so weird.
It's deceptive because of the way that the main ramp points back towards the corner. But when someone was going over the statistics for like the matchups, the thing that they found was the determining factor is that it's 50 seconds for an SCV to go from main to main on this map, and year 0, a map that we generally think of as being like ginormous, big split map. It's like 43 or 44 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, so their calculation on the win rates for Terran versus Protoss was mostly based off of it. For the maps, it was directly proportional to the amount of time that it took to get there. Or I guess inversely proportional to the amount of time that it took to get to the enemy base.
I would not have... You know what I think does it for me on Automaton is so deceptive? Is that the map is so wide open. There's not actually nearly as many like ramps or choke points as there are on a lot of other maps.
Yeah.
It's just a lot less terrain in general. It feels like there's not that much space between things, but in reality, it's just there's not actually that much terrain between things. So it doesn't feel like a lot of area.
And the main bases are not actually further apart.
Yeah.
It just has to do with because the ramp points down or up depending on where you are towards that corner. But that's interesting, Number analytics and all that have been really fun to dig into.
Actually, there was a really cool article that came out on the Root Gaming webpage where they went over the games from WCS Winter, and they had like scatter plots of the time that it took for like each matchup to end and everything for all the WCS Winter games. That was really cool. I love seeing that kind of statistic.
Was there any specific number in particular that kind of jumped out to you? Anything that you thought was...
I think it was like the Zerg win rates. Actually, relevant to this match, Zerg win rates, while they were somewhat spread out, so it was like not super consistent, Zergs overall tended to win the game a lot later on. Like I think it was the mean or the median was like 17, 18 minutes, whereas like Terran was like 10 minutes.
That makes a lot of sense though. Zerg doesn't really have, outside of the brief period of the insane Nidus memes, Zerg doesn't really have particularly strong all-ins in most of the matchups. Nothing to the degree of like, a bit Warp Prism all-in or a Hellbat SCV or those Marine tank pushes and whatnot. So
are you trying to caster curse this so this becomes like a Nidus Worm all-in from Lambo?
Nah, I don't. I'm not concerned about that. I don't think he wants to throw the game away.
Yeah.
Really fast third command center out of SouL. I think it's worth noting that he went for this reactor factory opening, did not take a second gas in his main, and no starport. So this is just like, this is giving me some kind of vibes from like Wings of Liberty, like, oh, I'm just gonna open up with the Hellions and then switch back to like Marine Tank, but he's actually just gonna get Stim and just crank out Hellions. So he's gonna give himself an opportunity to do a Hellbat attack if he wants to throw it on an armory at some point with how little gas he has, but this will also just get some map control with early Hellions and try to just power up a ton of barracks. I say that, he's just gonna get a late starport. Okay.
Yeah, and Speed Overlord, by the way, was researched, so Lambo gets a full scout on all of this. He throws down the double Evo chamber, is going to continue to drone on up and says, okay, well, I guess I got to just get up enough drones to make up for any damage that I might take versus the Hellions. Got to do this pretty well controlled. We already see a couple of drones being picked off over here. 4 drones going down. I think only a single Hellion has died so far. So SouL definitely getting the better end of this so far.
Yeah, good little harass. It's interesting. I think this type of build is just not something that you see a crazy amount, but the advantage that it gives him is, well, his Stim is still going to be at a pretty good time. Maybe you'd say the engineering bays aren't going to be, yeah, he's going to be slightly behind in terms of the upgrade timing since he's just now starting them and 1-1 is on the way for Lambo. But you're just trying to play like big map control with this many Hellions early on, and that keeps you kind of safe against certain attacks you could get hit with. But that's kind of interesting. It's a bit of a flimsy build. Frankly, if he was to be attacked by some sort of like early Roach or Roach Ling.
Oh, you mean if there was a Zerg all in, they could...
Yeah. No, that may very well just, right, that just kind of leans into that. There isn't a tremendous amount of strong early aggressive options.
Yeah. You know, it's really cool because I like when SouL sort of mixes things up a little bit. I know he's one of those guys that you always see him in the online tournaments on the ladder. He's constantly rising up all the time, and he always shows this promise. But then I think when it comes to the WCS matches, he always falls a little bit short of where you kind of hope he'll land. And we're still just sort of waiting on that big performance from SouL, so I'm hopeful. Lambo is a pretty tough opponent. I think he is favored going into this, especially with all the results he's been getting lately. But
SouL is like the newest of the non-Korean Terrans that we talk about, basically, outside of some of the youngsters over in WCS Americas who haven't really proven themselves yet either, to be honest. But SouL's a player that we see qualify for a lot of these. You talk about it, yeah, he's an online tournament warrior. But this is one of those breakout opportunities that we talk about. Good little run by on that third, planted down, getting a couple of SCVs, drawing SouL's attention back. He wants to make this attack. He's got those Hellions transformed. No Baneling Nest. It's just now finished, but there are no Banelings. We've got Stim Marines and Hellbats coming up on top of this third.
Oh, that's a problem.
Lambo's just got to buy time. He has 10 Banelings on the way. He has plenty of Zerglings. He just needs to get that buffer up. A second Stim, I think, realizing that there's nothing here. Just get on top of those drones. That's really the big goal here. Get as many drones as you can before those Banelings come push you away.
And the Hellbats are doing a great job of zoning out so many of these units. So many of the Banelings dying to the Hellbats. And only 2 of the Banelings are left over. 12 drones picked off. SouL hitting before he had combat shields or anything, but right when Stim was finished up, and now he's gonna have 1-1. Like, this is such a nice spot for SouL.
That was a very well done attack. I mean, the whole story of those Hellions is, you know, they're the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
They're not really. There's no extraction planned for those Hellbats. The point is to move them in as fodder. The Marines got the 12 drones, which is really nice in this phase of the game, forcing that larva to be pushed back towards that direction. And I think if you're SouL right now, you power up, you get the rest of your production up. Start your 2-2 as soon as you can. Don't want to fall behind there. +2 melee actually still did not start for the Zerglings.
Ooh. Yeah, seems like Lambo maybe hurting a little bit from those 12 workers that went down. We also saw those Banelings morphing in on the very south side of the map. I think that they might get caught soon. SouL is very close to the Marine. Oh my god, it's barely going to miss out on vision of that.
I don't know how I feel about this right now for Lambo. He's going to try and poke the front here. These Banelings come towards the side, saves a decent little chunk of the Marines. But you know what's really interesting about this setup is there's no other tech option from Lambo. He's going to go straight into Hive, but he's just playing with Ling Bane. Not Ling Bane Hydra, not Ling Bane Muta, just Ling Bane. That makes him very susceptible to this harass because there's no big anti-air force flying around like Mutas, and nothing that can really push off from the ground other than Queens.
Oh yeah. The 8 Queens are going to be very important. The positioning of them is going to be vital. So
I feel like I'm watching 2016 True ZvT right here. Like, I'm going to build some queens, and then I'm only going to make Ling Bane until I get up to Hive.
This was like the NA style for a long time in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But we're going to see, again, like you said, Hive coming up. So there is a little bit of a timer here for souL to get something more done. He has been losing a lot of his bio units in the drops to the Banelings. So I will say Lambo has been getting some pretty good cleanup, which is why I think he hasn't taken as much more damage ever since that first big attack. He hasn't been losing a ton of drones or anything. He's been doing a pretty good job defending so far.
So this has to be an Ultralisk Cavern play. There is no Spire that's been started, no Spire anywhere. Hive is about to finish. I imagine we'll see 3-3 and Adrenal Glands. But with that, the only thing it can be is Ultralisk Cavern. I don't think Ling Bane Viper is a meme. I don't believe we're going to see anything along those lines. Banelings kind of bust open by the third. But nothing too much going on there.
But here it comes. It looks like a bit further of a move out here from souL. I think he's just establishing his 4th base, but is he going to actually go for the push right now? He's getting closer and closer to maxed out point right now. He's already sitting at 180 supply.
This is the time to go. This is the time to go. There's nothing. It's just Ling Bane. Now, the counterattacks are what your big fear is going to be, but the reinforcements that rally out should be able to handle it for the most part. Your only concern is not getting overwhelmed by the Banelings as you step onto Creed.
Oh my god, his army is so stiff.
Those Marines are all one-shot. Those Marines are all one-shot to Banelings right now.
He needs a few seconds to regen his hit points. More Banelings come rolling on in, but it's a couple of them going off on the tank. SCV's being split pretty well here so far.
Really good SCV split.
+2 missile or melee is not good enough versus Terran to one-shot those workers.
He's getting ready to flank or just send another counterattack, it looks like. Yeah, okay, Adrenal Glands on the way. He's just massing Lings.
He's just going to give up on that hatchery, it seems like.
It's a YOLO ZvT style.
But I think souL has enough Marines now back at home that he can deal with that. The hatchery ends up falling. The Ultra's Cavern is now finished up. Still no 3-3 on the way, but Adrenal Glands getting closer and closer to finishing. He's going to engage right before Adrenal Glands finishes.
Oh, okay. Well, the Banes get everything that they need. The Marines in the back come up. These medevacs
so
are
low
energy. Yeah, these Marines with this much stim. Now the Ultralisks are coming out. And
he needs to regen the hit points on those Marines, because otherwise the Ultralisks are going to start one-shotting those Marines.
Yeah, that's hard. Now Adrenal Glands are done. So this very interesting, I'm gonna call it in a weird roundabout way, Creedy style out of Lambo, where he just rocked no tech units for the majority of this game all the way up till Hive. He's gotten away with it. The Ling counterattacks did a great job. He was able to put on a lot of pressure. But I'm going to quote a famous Frenchman. I can't remember his name. He's in some history book, I think. But it's Luca di Supply. The Ultralisk Cavern gets sniped. Amazing pickup. So no chitinous plating. And there's no armor upgrade advantage anymore. And souL's just going to make this next attack. He's like, look, you want to rush Ultras? Cool story, bro. I'm going to try to just kill you now.
Now, the only kind of benefit here is that there's really just siege tanks to deal with the Ultralisk, even if it doesn't have chitinous plating. So all the siege tanks have been cleaned up pretty quickly. There's still a few Lings and those Queens left over, so it's a good chance that Ultralisk can stay alive for a little bit longer, giving him time to remake that Ultra Cavern. But still, a lot of big trades here. Lambo is
hatch of gold. Forces a cancel on that one.
This is going to be really problematic. Oh, a couple of Queens starting to go down over here. No transfuses available anymore. Maybe one at most.
Those medevacs pretty low.
Looks like the hatchery at the top left also getting shut down here by this medevac drop. And remember,
there's nothing to build that in the face of those Marines. That was not going to work.
You know, so many of the Queens also just went down there that even remember, that was the only form of anti-air here. souL still has more opportunities to continue to drop and be annoying.
Liberators here would be gnarly. There's nothing that can effectively deal with Widow Mines, in my opinion, either, if he were to get Drilling Claws. It's so very odd to see someone play like this, because if he had just gone into Liberators, like if you knew that your opponent was going to do this style against you, like on ladder, this is the type of game where you'd be like, oh, is this what you're going to do? I'm just going to go Liberators and force you to do something else, right?
Yeah.
Or you kind of try to play into it where like, I'm just going to go mass Widow Mines so that you don't expect it.
And he's starting up those Liberators now, and remember that it's going to take at least around 45 seconds to like a minute and a half to actually get up a response.
Lambo's a madman. He's getting 3-3, he's getting chitinous, he still hasn't gotten like a Spire.
No Spire, no
He has 111 Zerglings and 8 Banelings. He's building 36 more Lings. This is just like the Zagara mission from Heart of the Swarm campaign. It's just the most ridiculous amount of Ling Bane That's the whole build. Yeah, and that counter.
He's going to find a command center over the gold, maybe? No, he's going to move further down south.
Wants to get the third. Nope, there's a tank there.
The banelings are so far back that he's not going to have a chance to knock down the supply depot wall. He's trying to push back this force over here from SouL, which is inching his way forward.
Yep, now we have Ghost coming out, and Planetary is going to repair the hive.
Oh man, at the same time,
going to get knocked down. Keep repairing. There's no more banelings. He didn't have enough banes to actually break this, but are the SCV repair going to be enough?
He's starting to take out some of the SCVs. He's also cut down on the surface area available for the repair, but at the same time, there's also a main engagement happening over here on the top left-hand side. The main base has been sniped off entirely for Lambo.
Spawning pool too.
Oh.
When your whole strategy is build links and you can't build links low.
Yep, that hurts. Nice job by souL. Ridiculous pressure there.
What an odd game. So, first of all, souL does a Terran opening that is not popular. We don't really see. He goes for a quick reactor factory with very late starport, straight into 3 command centers off of 1 gas, which is the ultimate build roaches and kill me, please. But Lambo's like, you know what? I'm going to do you one better, buddy, and only build Zerglings for 15 minutes until I get Ultralisks out. So odd to not get a Spire or Vipers to deal with the siege tanks. It's like that true style is good because you build like 30 banelings on the other side of the map with those lings, and you just try to get on top of the production when the Terran pushes out. But he wasn't able to find that opportunity, and unless you get like the sickest run by of all time doing that style, it's almost impossible to engage the actual Terran army.
And he was getting decent run-bys, right? He was finding opportunities to run in, kill a bunch of workers, or force things off money, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, even that's not enough. Like, the split on the SCVs at the third base was good, but that style demands that you really ravage or, like, kill a couple of bases or get on the production, because you're running around with, like, 60-odd lings while you have an army outside your front door. And it's like, okay, well, you killed a tank or 2. No, not enough. If the next wave of Marines pushes you out of his base, then you're just kind of stuck. Because those Marines are going to be able to deal with that attack very well. And that was just such an odd thing. Also, the baneliness in the first place was quite late. The Hellbat Stim Marine attack with the 2 medevacs.
That did a lot.
That attack did not hit very early. That push got 12 drones and killed a decent number of lings. And as you said, the Hellbat soaked up all but, I think it
2
was...
banelings.
All but 2 banelings, right.
Yeah. Really, really solid job with that game, and I have to say, like, the thing that I'm used to expecting when a Zerg player says, I'm not going to get a Hydra Den or a Spire or anything, I'm just going to rely on, like, 8 Queens to defend, usually I'm used to seeing the Zerg player fall apart to, multi-pronged drop harassment and everything. And SouL was going for some drop harassment, but that wasn't really what killed Lambo.
Well, yeah, when you have 140 Zerglings, like, getting around the map is not as much of an issue, but you still, like, watching a game like that just makes me think to myself, if he just gets Drilling Claws, there's nothing that can effectively deal with Widow Mines. Other than, obviously you can do fancy Ling Micro, you can try to manually detonate Banes over it, but you don't have, like, Mutas that are just going to run around and just snipe mine after mine. You don't have Hydras that can just kill them because they outrange them. The only way to get through them is to literally just eat the shots for the Zerg. And then if you get enough mines, it makes me think back to, I love referencing these games when they first nerfed the mine. Before they undid the nerf, when they reduced the damage from the splash, and Pult would just go like 3 factory with reactors on just mass.
Oh, that was a disgusting time.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, you want to try and run through the mines because they don't do as much damage? Well, I have 30 mines in a field outside your base. Good luck, brother. Good luck.
All right, guys, we're going to be starting game number 2 here on Kings Cove, starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map.
Ruh-roh.
Red Terran player. He goes by the name of souL.
Why doesn't he have all of his SCVs in his base, Beer Dragon?
Well, Nate, he just wants to give some of them some paid time off.
Yeah, I need a vacation. He's giving his SCVs a little vacation. And that should hopefully improve morale, increase efficiency. That's what I want in StarCraft 3.
If you tell your workers not to mine for a little bit, then they mine at a higher rate.
You let your workers take time off, and it's like a small cost at the beginning, but then your workers have like a morale boost, and they mine like 1 more mineral per trip for the rest of the game or something. Until they start to die, of course. That ruins morale.
Yeah. But or you could actually just get a siege tank, right? Because then there's Lieutenant Morale.
Yeah. God. Oh. Wait, did he not see it?
No!
Oh! He turned at the worst possible moment!
And he is clearly scouting for proxy racks.
I couldn't have written a script this good, Fear Dragon.
The only reason why you would turn that Overlord north is you were saying, well, what if he proxy raxes me? Oh, that is painful. Well, 2 racks is one of the less committed versions of this, so souL's going to have some extra minerals. He's going to be able to get up transition nice and early on. He's keeping that SCV nice and hidden right now. He's going to want to use it to maybe build some bunkers if he gets a chance. But now he starts moving forward. Overlord does turn back south and will spot these out, but it is a good bit later than before.
Yep. And by the way, he took a gas very quickly behind this, so he's preparing his follow-up factory very quickly. We've already got drones coming down towards the natural, trying to shut down the bunker. But there's going to be a handful of Marines. Well, he's going to build a Reaper behind the Marines with this, which I do find very interesting. Drones cancel the bunker. Zerglings are coming out. Wow, so he builds like 2 Marines and then he transitions into 2 racks Reaper from this, which is very odd. The drones are all holding the ramp. He's missing. I mean, if you look at the income tab, he is broke.
There's 4 workers mining right now.
Yeah.
One of the drones actually gets picked off over there. Overlord is getting a little bit lower, and it looks like now souL's in a position where he can start building another bunker. The Spine Crawler going up as well. This is
so weird. So he gets 3 Marines, goes into Reapers out of it. Still just 2 racks. He actually hasn't really built a wall by his main either. The first depot is next to his command center.
You know what? The more I think about it, yeah.
But like he wants to get on top of the barracks. And he's like, oh yeah, you don't have link speed, bruh.
Yeah.
So these Reapers could deal with that. Oh, wow, okay. This is going to be nice if he can shut down the bunker. With no link speed, he can start killing drones. There's nothing in the main at all.
Forget link speed. Yeah, there's not even a queen in the main base. Finally, one comes up to start doing some of those injects, but now the drone goes down. Another Spore Crawler being started because that drone is so low on hit points.
Now the command center starts. So, taking stock, the Zerg player, Lambo, did wait a little bit on the gas because of what happened. So he does not have link speed on the way. So souL can dance around with impunity with these Reapers. Like try to grab a drone and then back out.
Queen.
Getting the Queen would be really big this early on. We talk about how little he was able to mine because there's no link speed. Yep, Queen dead. Well, everything else can just get to work.
Oh, and okay, well, I like
counterattack.
Counterattack.
Really nice though.
If he can cancel this command center, that is the dream right there. The Marines are busy with the
Overlord.
Overlord.
Pull some SCVs, get the Overlord. I think the Overlord is actually better to get this fast and then bring the SCVs down. Help fight against the Lynx. He should be fine here. He misses a bit of mining himself, but he's still got the Reapers on the other side of the map, so it's not over yet.
Yeah, nice control. And remember, by sniping off one of those Queens with no Zergling speed on the way, that makes it even harder to catch these Reapers. They have even more longevity to their harassment. And you can already see that souL is...
That Overlord supply blocked him, by the way. So the worker count is very close, and this is very significant. He can't like crunch out a wave of drones. He's waiting for 2 Overlords to build at the moment. And we have drones dying to these Reapers. He does get a 6 surround. Throws a couple grenades, but 3 drones there picked off, and this is really nice. He's cranking out more lings. Starts a Baneling Nest, so he is just going to throw everything.
Oh, souL started a 3rd CC. souL is maybe going to be playing this a little bit greedy.
You know what, though? Because it's not anything Roach-based, what Terran players can do with just a handful of Hellions against something like this is really big. It's unfortunate that he hasn't tried to put a bunker or anything up front because the Lings may just go straight to the ramp. But, oh my goodness. All right, Ling speed is done. Those Lings that were kind of hugging a drone in the natural, he's kind of pocketing them. He hasn't moved everything out on the map yet.
Okay, so he sees Ling speed was research.
As a Terran player, when you see someone throwing 1 Ling at you, there's no 3rd hatchery. There's only so many reasons why a Zerg is gut checking you if they're not playing economically, and it's because they want to know what you have to defend with. Is there a wall? How many Banelings do I need to break the wall? You might not need as many Banelings with this because you know you only have to break through 1 layer. You just have to Bane bust the depot at the top of the ramp. There's a decent number of Marines. There's a decent number of Hellions. I feel pretty good. If this 100% comes down to souL's micro, but with this many Hellions and a choke point, he should be able to hold this without too much trouble.
Yeah, keeping all those Marines up in the main base is a clear sign that he is ready for some sort of big attack. And the Banelings are going to be the first ones leading the charge, and they run straight into those Hellions. Only 2 of the Banelings even get any kind of connection, and the rest of the Hellions are going to be able to deal with the Lings.
Easy Hodor right here. I mean, move down the ramp. I would move down the ramp with everything here. He has enough Hellions and Marines to kill this.
Lambo's already
realize it. But yeah, he throws his scan down. He's like, oh, now he's getting drones. Okay. Cool. We're good.
Lambo doesn't even have a 3rd base like you said before. So this is, even if he tries to drone up,
he's got a worker lead and he's got mules. What more needs to be said? The Lings are going to try and come in and get some more of these SCVs to settle the score because he does have a lot of Lings to work with. But that's all larva that is in drones. Like, it's not like Lambo's suddenly ahead in workers because he gets a couple SCV kills. He hasn't been building workers.
And if he loses all of these links to the Hellions like he's sort of doing right now, then the Hellions can just move back across the map.
Oh, I'd A-move.
And force even more units out that are
attack with everything towards the third. Throw it on an armory right now.
He's going to have stim soon. Yeah. This is actually such a great spot right now for SouL. He's going to have his first 2 medevacs, 2 and stim.
SouL's a much better player than me. Smart move is to build the 2 medevacs first. And I would still get an armory right now so that this all times out that he can just go across the map because there really isn't a whole lot for Lambo. He does have a Baneling nest, but his only way back into this game, in my honest opinion, is to just build a crazy amount of drones and try and get that 3rd base like really up and running.
I mean, yeah.
Because you talk about the risk that he took taking his 3rd command center early on, but his economic ability is going to be just absolutely disgusting. He's pulling in more money, he's mining more gas, he's mining more minerals. This everything's coming up aces right now for SouL.
I mean, you're talking about economy, Nate. Let's even just talk about the fact that there's still there might be a Baneling nest, but there's no lair. There's not a lot of creep spread either.
Yeah, no lair, no evolution chambers, right? He has 1, but it's just now starting +1 carapace. So he's not going to be ahead in upgrades in any way. The attack upgrade will be delayed.
Here we go.
Is he keeping the Hellions home in case of like a Bane counter? No, okay, he's moving the Hellions out.
Yeah, I think he was maybe just waiting for the full wall to get up before he moves out with the Hellions. So
this is going to be really hard to stop, especially because some of the lings are across map. He only has 17 Zerglings, and there's going to be Stim Marines with Hellion support. No Banelings on the map. He's just going to rely on a handful of Queens and a Spine to defend.
He's still droning right now.
He has to. There's no other option.
Yeah.
And now I think he's just gonna die. Without Banelings, I don't see a way that he breaks this. Combat shield's done. GG SouL 2-0 to start off today's group. Well done, sir. And nice. This is a very odd series to be perfectly honest. We have the very weird greedy opening from SouL in game 1, but Lambo deciding that he's only gonna build Lingbane until he gets Ultralisks. Nothing else.
Yeah.
And then in game 2, proxy 2 racks with a late gas to get like a couple Marines and then a couple Reapers. And then Lambo's just like, well, I guess I just try to Baneling counterattack since you killed enough of my drones that I feel too far economically behind. And then SouL's just like, no, man, I got Hellions. Game over. Backhand him.
Great showing so far by SouL. And again, I do think that not by a significant margin, because SouL's definitely shown promise in his ability to take out players like Lambo and whatnot. But this is a bit of an upset. I would say a lot of people were expecting Lambo to be able to win this series.
Very weird match. Very weird best of 3. Like game 2, I can kind of see where Lambo's coming from.
Game 2,
those proxy builds can be really hard. The Overlord doesn't see it. You know, it's a very
you know what I really wonder? Game number 1, I wonder because I know that I saw Lambo like maybe like a day ago, maybe a day and a half ago. He was doing his usual stream. Lambo is one of those players that actually streams quite a bit, and I know that SouL is one of those guys who will be hanging out in a lot of the different streams.
Oh, SouL's a Twitch memer, yeah.
And he, again, Terran is one of those races where I think we've seen it happen. We've seen it talked about a lot, where if you have time to prepare for specific players, it's a lot easier. You can see where maybe he says, okay, well, I noticed that Lambo seems to really be delaying all these other kind of things. I can go for fast. You see that game number 1?
It's like the Maru effect when you study Terrence. Maru does a billion times better when he has time to prep for a match. And if you put him into a weekend tournament where he has no time to prep, he kind of sucks. Sorry.
All right, well, with that being said, that's our first series of the day done. We still got plenty more StarCraft. 9 more series coming up between EU and NA. 4 left for EU, and that next one is going to be Thermal versus DNS. Nate, I'm pumped about this one. What are your thoughts here?
It'll be another great one. Regardless of the outcome, Thermal will make a very happy or very salty tweet after the match, so stay tuned for that. And maybe DNS too, actually.
DNS.
These guys both have a bit of higher sodium content in their blood. Maybe DNS not as much lately. We'll see.
I'm pretty pumped about this. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching WCS Challenger Group C.